Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me directly, tmosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And I've taken an interest in this series recently because I'm thinking of buying one. I've always wanted a de Bethune watch, and these middle de Bethune models feature a lot of capability, real rarity, and an important place in de Bethune history. Of course, the original de Bethune watches were very classical. They featured the DB1 series case, solid dial, round case, fixed lugs, inspired by Breguet and mid-century Holy Trinity dress watches. Denis Flageolet, the founder and creative lead of de Bethune, wanted to pay homage to his heroes with those. More recently, we've seen with the DB26, 27, and 28, floating lugs, dial-side mechanisms, extremely avant-garde style. These early DB20 series watches, though, they're unlike anything that came before and anything that came after, and they're very fascinating on that basis. So you can see here we have a DB24 Vetrois, which is a model launched in 2009 and only made in 29 examples. There is also a DB24, and while 65 examples of it were made, there are important mechanical and aesthetic differences between them, and I'm going to focus on the Vetrois now while using the 24 for the sake of contrast and comparison. This is a big watch, but it doesn't wear as large as stated. It's important to note that if you're on our website, you probably see this watch described as 45 millimeters. Well, I measured it at the bezel, and it is 48, as de Bethune claims, and that's the number I'm going to quote. It is thinner, however, than de Bethune claims. They claim 15.3 millimeters. I measured 14.3, and then it's 53 lug-to-lug with a 26 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Of course, grade 5 titanium, which, like grade 2, is hypoallergenic and lighter than steel. Unlike grade 2, grade 5 is actually harder and more scratch resistant than standard 316 and 904 watchmaking steels. This is where I want you to consider the watch almost as though it were lugless, because that's sort of how it wears. My wrist is small, and yet I'm considering the purchase of one of these, so what gives? Well, as you can see, if you're not a tiny person in the sense that you have a very small wrist, an average-sized wrist can wear this well. It's a sports watch. It's prominent. It's supposed to look large, but you want to have a big target for your eyeballs to tell the time. Legibility is not a crime, and large size in service of legibility is a virtue. As you can see, the watch features a relatively compact down the barrel shot where the lugs are not out over the edge of my wrist. Out to the edge, sure, but not out and over. So if your wrist is 16 centimeters circumference and up, you're going to wear this well. Being made of sapphire and titanium, it is feathery light on the wrist. Very, very comfortable. Taking a look at the strap, it's an unusual one for de Bethune. And you can see that the watch features a sort of hot-stamped cross-weave pattern as though it were made of carbon fiber. And then we've got bolstering or stuffing to add some volume, a monotone stitch, a folded edge, calfskin on the bottom, de Bethune factory strap, brand new, no crimping, no gouging. At de Bethune, you also have a unique tradition of building buckles to match case shapes. And most companies, and I'm looking at you, Francois Paul, would use just one pin buckle for every single model. Here you can obviously see that the step and angularity of the lugs matches the step and angularity of this media blasted titanium buckle. Very cool. De Bethune by this point was making its own cases, dials, and movements, so this is a full integrated manufacturer product. Please forgive the fingerprints, but I was admiring this one before the shoot. You can see we have a combination of polish, we have satin brushing, we also have a large amount of media blast, which gives you a lovely matte finish. The crown is unbranded because traditionally on vintage wrist and pocket watches, crowns would have been unbranded, so Denis likes to build crowns that are distinctive in design but unbranded. Now the watch, of course, being de Bethune's first series of sports watches, the 20s, 22s, and 24s, they were all designed to be hundreds of meters water resistant. And this is 200 meters. So what's not commonly understood is that before the Grand Sport, before the Grand Bleu, de Bethune did have swimmable, highly water resistant watches, and these early DB20 series models were those. What really makes this DB24 the Vetrois is a combination of dial design and mechanical exception. So you can see how this center dial has been fired blue And that is how all of the blue is achieved, by heat. Well, let's take a quick look at a standard 24. Now, there are 65 of these in the world with various combinations of dial and bezel, but mechanically, they're all the same, those 65. Whereas there's 29 of these. What really sets them apart? Well, look at the center dial. No color, right? But also no mention of a winding mode position. This is a very special watch right here. So you've got this incredibly deep sectored dial, and we have polish, media blast, and brushed satin on this dial, as well as incredible depth and layering. I'm going to screw the crown out and show you something really cool now. The watch has a mechanism that allows you to set the winding efficiency of the automatic movement. So if you're like Goldilocks and you want just right, well, go to medium or middle. If you're very active and you don't want to wear down the mechanism, well, you can be a little bit more conservative and set it to low winding efficiency, or you can set it to high if, like me, you are a desk diver. In fact, I'm going to pull that back out and show you how it works on the reverse side. You can see that we still have the same mechanism on the reverse side on both watches. The difference is that this dial is immobile and solid. It has the case back low, medium, and high indicator along with the underlying running gear, but this watch alone has a display on both sides. Now you can see how this works and how the mechanism itself actually operates. This is patented. It should go without saying. By the way, how cool is the planetary style gear mechanism that acts as the jumper? Is that fun or what? Okay, so that is how the system works. Now, of course, later on, Urwerk would offer a system that allowed you to adjust the winding efficiency of its watches. And of course, Richard Mille has variable geometry winding rotors, but those can only be set by a watchmaker who can open the case. De Bethune gave you the ability to set it yourself. Lots to love here. On paper, these movements are 6 days, though if you look at the technical documents that come with the watch, it's actually stated as 150 hours, which is more like 6 days and 6 hours. So that 6 days or 144 hours is the chronometric power reserve. Now we have here a titanium rotor with a large span to create a massive polar moment or turning force, and for maximum winding efficiency we have this snailed platinum mass. We have 4 shock protection springs at the center of the rotor. That is a patented system that Denis Flageolet patented on the original DB2024 movement back in 2006. So this is shock protection for the rotor bearing. So you want the rotor to turn, but you don't want it to move side to side. So to prevent that from happening, these little cantilever springs are equipped. And so each one, to prevent excessive friction when it contacts the rotor, has 3 slider jewels to minimize friction built right in. So that's patented. The setting system for winding efficiency is patented. Here we have a balance that is a titanium yoke with platinum masses outboard, and that is patented too. It's designed to reduce the effective aerodynamic drag on timing, reduce the effective temperature change on timing, and also maximize the percentage of total rotor mass in the rim of the balance. You can also see 1, 2, 3 shock protection systems, or I should say 3 springs with Inca block at the center and then a separate bridge for the flanking steel springs. That is called triple parachute. And that is a system that is designed to improve survivability of the mechanical components against extreme shock, but also improve chronometry as there will be less displacement of the balance staff pivot from its socket. All of this pivots on 47 joules, beats away at 4 hertz, so no gimmicks are used to achieve that 150-hour power reserve. The finishing in some places looks techno-industrial, but when you get really close, you start to realize how finely finished and micro-beveled these steel components of the setting system are, as well as the satin top and mirror beveled of the spring system for triple parachute. There are also 2 self-adjusting barrels that are themselves patented. This is an extraordinary opportunity to own something truly rare and very different, a pioneering piece by De Bethune with the unique setting system and the dial side mode indicator. It's different even from the already rare DB24 power reserve. So again, you've got that power reserve indicator that turns from red to black as it winds up. If you love this watch, and I definitely do, and it might be on my wrist the next time you see it, but reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.